Russia's war in Ukraine has become a historical phenomenon that may lead to the end of Vladimir Putin. For the first time, most countries in the world have come together and acted for a unified purpose against Russia's occupation of Ukraine. This situation, rarely seen in world history, continues to progress in favor of Kiev, and every passing second signals a bleak future for Russia and Putin. We not only witness the situation in Ukraine but also feel its impact in the Baltics, a region crucial to the Western and Eastern European blocs. The Baltic Sea has now become a focal point of geopolitical interests and conflicts. Amidst this crisis, NATO allies and future allies find themselves engaged in a Baltic debate over first arrangements, new structures, and leadership roles. However, the Baltic states are also drawing closer together. As Russia has exploited this critical area to expand the Ukrainian invasion across a wider border and threaten Europe, the coastal states have increased their military readiness in response to the war against Ukraine and Russian naval activities in the Baltic Sea. Germany's recent move is a historic example of this preparedness. The Baltic state of Germany has called on the NATO military alliance to strengthen its eastern flank. During a press conference in Vilnius, the Berlin government announced its readiness to permanently deploy 4,000 troops in the city, which shares a border with Russia and was formerly part of the Soviet Union. The deployment proposal from Germany is contingent upon providing the necessary infrastructure and aligning with the plans of the military alliance. The foundations for Berlin-Vilnius military cooperation have already been laid, as German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius made it clear during his visit to Vilnius that Germany is prepared to station a solid brigade permanently in Lithuania. Previously, there were uncertainties about whether the troops would be stationed permanently in the Baltics or sent there only temporarily for exercises. While the Lithuanian government has requested a permanent presence, the German government had been hesitant. However, Germany's stance has become much more positive over time. Pistorius stated that, given Germany's history as the country on the eastern flank of NATO until the end of the Cold War, the decision to propose the brigade is not only due to Russia's war against Ukraine but also Germany's own historical responsibility. Pistorius openly accepted Germany's responsibilities and obligations as a NATO member state with Europe's largest economy in protecting its eastern flank. Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda welcomed the announcement and expressed his country's intention to develop the necessary infrastructure by 2026. Following his meeting with Pistorius and NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, Nausėda emphasized his strong political will to secure the required financial resources for infrastructure needs. Stoltenberg also praised Germany's announcement, commending the country for its leadership and commitment to supporting the organization's collective defense strategy. This significant cooperation has had the most impact on Russia. Lithuania shares a border with the Russian province of Kaliningrad, situated between the Baltic state and Poland. Therefore, Germany's decision to deploy troops is vital in reducing the Russian threat in the Baltics, as Kaliningrad serves as one of the most important ports where Russia can find shelter and support for its naval forces in the region. With the deployment of 4,000 German soldiers to the Russian border, Russia will now face increased pressure within the Kaliningrad, Poland, Lithuania triangle. The German army, Bundeswehr, has been present in Lithuania on the border of Russia and Belarus for 6 years and is currently leading a NATO combat group with approximately 1,600 soldiers, 780 of whom are from the Bundeswehr. As per German broadcaster Deutsche Welle, only the brigade's command center, consisting of around 20 German soldiers, is currently located in Rekla, with the rest stationed in various locations within Germany. The fate of this unit once the new German brigade is deployed remains unclear. However, Berlin is also preparing to hold NATO exercises in Lithuania in addition to the permanent deployment of 4,000 troops. Work has already begun on Griffin Storm, a joint NATO exercise between the German and Lithuanian armies. Germany has sent 1,000 soldiers from the 41st Mechanized Infantry Brigade and 300 tanks to Lithuania to participate in these exercises focused on defending NATO's eastern flank. This NATO exercise, conducted in cooperation between Lithuania and Germany, is planned to continue until July 7th and is being held for the third time. Such exercises also serve to safeguard Moscow's freedom of action, as the Baltic region faces increasing constraints due to NATO enlargement. Similarly, Moscow, Kaliningrad, and St. Petersburg have developed advanced defense capabilities with modern weapons systems in and around these cities. However, Finland's entry into NATO allows the alliance to enhance its capabilities with improved reconnaissance assets and defensive, and possibly offensive, weapons systems. Finland's accession to NATO, along with other developments and constellations in the Baltic region, could escalate tensions between NATO states and Russia due to the sanctions imposed by the West on Russia. These sanctions restrict goods in Kaliningrad and St. Petersburg, impeding their passage to St. Petersburg along the Estonian and Polish borders. We observe an increasing number of border violations by Russia, including military aircraft, warships, and misguided missiles, as a consequence of the war in Ukraine. Consequently, numerous hybrid activities are taking place across critical civil and military infrastructure, ranging from drone appearances to acts of sabotage. Even before Russia's attack on Ukraine, there was a rise in hybrid activity that was difficult to attribute. These activities include influencing groups and ideas in the information space, the use of drones targeting critical military and naval infrastructure, escalating confrontational rhetoric against the West by Russian leadership, and attempts to undermine European energy security. The primary psychological aim of such activities is to instill fear, disrupt, and destabilize Western European societies. Examples of these activities include the destruction of Norwegian submarine cables and sensors, drone flights over Swedish nuclear power plants and energy infrastructure, German military training sites, as well as sabotage incidents involving Nord Stream 1 and 2. These attacks on pipelines have demonstrated the vulnerability of sea areas and critical infrastructure. However, they have also stimulated closer cooperation between partners and allies in the Baltic Sea region. It is worth recalling that 3 days after the start of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Chancellor Olaf Scholz delivered his Zeitenwende speech in the German Bundestag. Since then, the German government has consistently expressed its desire to position Germany as a leading military power within the alliance, assuming responsibility for NATO in the Baltic Sea region by providing specific regional command elements or headquarters. Apart from Germany, other NATO alliance members are readjusting their plans and actions to protect their allies in the east and north, while strengthening their deterrence and defense capabilities in these regions. The United States is deploying additional weapons systems in the region and expanding bilateral cooperation with countries like Norway. In the future, the U.S. Air Force will have access to airfields at Rig, Sola near Oslo, and Stavanger to monitor ships approaching the Baltic Sea. Meanwhile, Poland, another Baltic Sea coast ally, is forging its own path. Poland aspires to have the strongest armed forces in Europe through bilateral cooperation with the United States. They are acquiring new capabilities, establishing new structures and units, and increasing the size of their armed forces deployed on Polish soil. If the Warsaw government can sustain these ambitions and secure funding in the upcoming elections, the Polish ground forces will likely become the largest and best equipped among European allies in the medium term. In summary, these and other measures indicate a potential escalation of conflicts, horizontally shifting an existing conflict to another geographical area. As a realistic scenario, the entire Arctic North Atlantic region could become involved due to geostrategic links. The attack aims to soften the latest Russian forces along a and corridor to occupied Crimea. Ivan Fedorov, an exiled mayor of the southern city of Melitopol, said he had hit his base in the nearby town of Vesela, Ukraine. The airstrike late last day is the latest in an action by Ukrainian forces to weaken Russia's dominance in the south. The Ukrainian armed forces carried out the Melitopol attack using HIMARS long-range missiles. 6 HIMARS missiles launched by Ukrainian forces pierced the darkness of the night. Melitopol groaned with the sound of missiles. These terrifying sounds heard from many points of the city blew up the Russian military base. What remained of the military base were pieces of debris and huge dark clouds rising into the sky. The emergency services of the Zaporizhia region claimed that all 6 missiles were successfully shot down thanks to the work of the Russian air defense. This event once again reminded that the armed forces of Ukraine have weapons capable of hitting Melitopol. Also last week, explosions occurred near a train depot and a military airstrip. An official assigned by the Russians was seriously injured in the attack, which was understood to have been carried out with a bomb-laden vehicle in the city. Ivan Fedorov wrote on social media that 2 weeks in a row went like hell for the invaders of the Melitopol region. Fedorov said that Russia has sent military personnel and vehicles there for several days after shutting down internet and mobile phone connections in the town to prevent local people from notifying the Ukrainian authorities of their actions. On the other hand, the rulers imposed by Russia described the recent attacks of Ukraine on Melitopol as the harbinger of an attack on Zaporizhia. Kiev gave little information about the planned spring offensive, but military analysts think that they could try to cut the Russian supply lines south to Mariupol towards the Sea of Azov from the northern shore of the sea. Ukrainian forces could hit the Kerch Strait Bridge, which Russia opened in 2018, to connect mainland Crimea. The bridge was rocked in October by an explosion that severely damaged its structure and blocked Russia's access to Crimea. Russia is still working to repair it. Repair of the bridge has not yet been completed. We will see in the coming days if Ukraine can turn this repair into an opportunity. However, the Ukrainian military command said in a statement that Russia has strengthened its fortifications in the northern region of the Crimean Peninsula, as well as in the southern provinces of Kherson and Zaporizhia. It can be interpreted as a preparation for the Ukraine counterattack, which Russia is expected to take these measures. As you can see, the days in the south of Ukraine are very active with the Ukrainian attacks. So what is the latest situation in the east of the country? Now let's turn our course to the eastern front line. The most violent clashes on the eastern front line take place in the city of Bakhmut. Attempts to attack by Russian and Wagner troops are repulsed by Ukrainian fighters. In this small city where the blood pressure does not drop even for a minute, striking developments are taking place. One of these striking developments is the destruction of the Russian Ka-52 helicopter in the attack of the Edelweiss Brigade. A Russian Ka-52 combat helicopter was shot down by Ukrainian forces near the city of Bakhmut, where fierce fighting took place, according to the Ukrainian army. Sergei Sharovaty, a spokesman for Ukraine's Eastern Power Group, stated that the helicopter was shot down using a portable air defense system, unmanned pads. In addition, Ukraine has previously made public reports of the downing of Russian Ka-52 helicopters. The Ukrainian General Staff said in an update that Moscow has lost 292 helicopters since the invasion began. However, this scoreboard does not indicate the number of Ka-52 aircraft lost. According to some Western sources, although Russia started its invasion of Ukraine with about 100 Ka-52 helicopters, according to a census, it lost about a third of the Crocodile attack helicopters it used day and night as of the last casualty. According to account by Dutch open source Oryx, which visually confirms military losses in Ukraine, Russia has lost 33 of 52 Crocodile helicopters since February 4, 2022. Considering Russia's helicopter losses, air operations are expected to be seriously interrupted. Now let's get to know Kamov Ka-52, the main hero of the disappeared a little more closely. The Kamov Ka-52 is one of Russia's award-winning attack helicopters. According to the U.S. military, the twin-seat all-weather attack aircraft is a highly upgraded version of its predecessor. The Ka-52 anti-tank missiles can fire air-to-air guided missiles. The Ka-52 helicopter can be equipped with a 30mm gun. According to Russian state military exporter Rosoboronexport, the Ka-52 can perform any combat mission with high efficiency. The Ka-52 helicopter has coaxial main rotors and a modern avionics suite that travels at a maximum speed of approximately 186 miles per hour. Rosoboronexport stated that the Ka-52 helicopter is designed to destroy tanks, military vehicles, aircraft, and manpower, including the front lines. As a result, Russian leader Vladimir Putin's war did not go according to plan. Putin hoped for a quick victory, but Putin made many strategic mistakes. The Kremlin leader underestimated Ukraine's willingness and capacity to fight. Putin overestimated Russia's military capabilities. Moreover, Vladimir Putin misjudged the West's ability and willingness to support Ukraine and impose heavy costs on Russia. Ukraine is struggling for survival that inspires devotion for Ukraine. There is no alternative but victory. Ukraine is now fighting to maintain its routine. On the other hand, Russians should know better. When the Third Reich invaded, they were sitting in a winter die seat with their backs to Stalingrad and Leningrad. Thus, Putin and Russia's underestimation of Ukraine's determination seems unaware of Russia's own military history.